On Friday, April 4th, the Hyperion record label released a fabulous recording of music by Dvořák and Florence Price. Featuring the world-renowned Takács Quartet and the Canadian piano phenom and no stranger to Winnipeg audiences, the 50-fingered Marc-André Hamelin, this CD features one of the true gems of the Piano Quintet literature, Dvořák's Opus 81 Piano Quintet in A and Florence Price's Piano Quintet. A quintet that is quickly becoming one of the staples of the American chamber music literature. This is just a spectacular recording, and joining me here over Zoom to talk about their new recording, I'm joined by Richard O'Neill, violist for the Takács Quartet, András Fair, who is the cellist for the Takács Quartet, and pianist Marc-André Hamelin. Hello, great to have you all here over Zoom.
Hello, nice.
I first want to ask about the partnership between Takács and you, Marc-André. You've released some just killer recordings, the Dohnányi piano quintets, Shostakovich, Schumann. How many CDs is this for you now? And how did the...
This is the fifth one that we've done together, actually. There was also the Franck Quintet.
How did the pairing come about? Like, Marc-André, how did you hook up with the
well, actually, we were at the time the Takács Quartet had just moved away from recording for Decca, and they hopped onto the Hyperion label, and it was their idea, actually, the Hyperion's idea, to pair us and see what would happen. I couldn't be happier with my relationship with them.
Yeah. Can you talk about why you enjoy performing alongside each other?
It might be pretentious to say it like that, but I think that musically we fit without too much effort. I every time I think back about these sessions, I don't remember tremendous amounts of rehearsal. Some things seem to just solve themselves, and I think we all have retained our individuality, but it's just a really happy marriage on the whole, and I really couldn't be happier.
And András and Richard, what do you enjoy about playing with Marc-André?
He makes our collaboration totally effortless, and personally myself, I'm always overjoyed to learn somebody of his type of knowledge and general attitude to music and the arts in general.
I want to turn to the CD. First of all, how did the five of you discover the music of Florence Price, and in particular this piano quintet?
Well, I came to it because it was offered to me by the quartet, and Ed Dusenberry wrote to me one day, said, "Would you like to take part in the recording of Dvorak and Florence Price?" And I would have been an utter fool to say no. First of all, because of our previous collaborations, but also because, as I said, I have absolutely wonderful memories of each session, that all of the sessions we've done together. So it was a no-brainer.
At first glance, Dvorak and Florence Price seemed like an odd pairing, and then in the booklet I was reading, you point out, and it makes perfect sense, Florence Price was influenced by Dvorak. Richard and András, in regards to Dvorak's American works, the quartet and the string quintet, is there a lot of similarity, or is there some similarity with the Florence Price quintet and the string writing?
I think, the soulfulness, the tunefulness, the sort of earnest nature. There are definitely parallels. The music cuts to the chase. It speaks directly. That's one of the things, and then also these very sort of jubilant dance movements. These sort of very rhythmic, flavorful dances. I think both the Dvorak Quintet and the Price share that. The third movements, the Dvorak being, of course, the Furiant, and Florence Price as being the Juba. Both are very just. It captures basically a moment in history.
Mm. And it's very sort of much like a East meets West thing, with the Dvorak variant and the Juba and the Florence Price. Uh, there's certainly been a boom in Florence Price recordings, especially after that treasure trove of music of hers was discovered in 2009 in her summer house. Uh, can you talk about this discovery? And when you made the recording of the Florence Price Quintet, have the parts been published, or were you reading off the manuscripts?
No, well, I don't know very much about the history of the discovery of the music, but I can say that the quintet is actually published, but we also had access to the manuscript. I know Michelle Kahn, who has performed it a little bit, and she graciously let me have a copy of a PDF of the manuscript, and it allowed us to discover some mistakes in the publication. And not only that, but it helped us solve some inconsistencies and copying mistakes. There is one bar in the first movement in which the music hadn't been copied right, and it resulted in cacophony, between instruments. So, I mean, we were sure that wasn't intentional, so we had to rectify the problem.
And what was it for you as string players to perform in Andras and Richard, the quintet, like just reading the parts?
For me, it was unexpected, the type of contrapuntal composition she applied, and at the very beginning, I really needed to count my beams and the various. Okay, I'm coming in here, but actually, why am I coming here? Why not later on when this fugal this or contrapuntal that followed? But somehow with during the rehearsals, the whole thing mellowed into a very natural sounding, wonderfully thought out composition. So that was fun to be part of.
Richard, how about you as a violist?
I feel lucky in the sense that she gives the viola a lot of stuff, a lot of tunes. But then, technically speaking, I don't think I get the real. There's some real challenges thrown at Ed and Marc-Andre, like really all out of seemingly nowhere. All of a sudden, there's like these clusters of things, and I watching both of them like. Handle all those challenges with no problem was enjoyable. I think I like viola parts like that. It's like you get you get a lot of bang for your buck.
Mm-hmm. The other work on the CD is the Dvorak Opus 81. It's his second piano quintet, and it's his second crack at a piano quintet. The first one was also in A. This is one of the gems. It's one of the crown jewels of the chamber music literature. Why is it so much more successful than the first one?
I can't talk about that because I've never actually heard the first one.
Really?
But the story behind it apparently is that at one point he wanted to perform it with a quartet, and somehow the score couldn't be located. So he just wrote another one, and that's the one that ended up being famous.
Andras and Richard, how about you? Like, have you played the first piano quintet, and how does it compare?
I need to confess, it's unknown to me. My fault, my sin. At some point, I will try to rectify this sorry situation.
I think for listeners, if you can, there's two piano quintets and two piano quartets, and the early piano quartets, sort of this period before Brahms, like there's the whole the change and things become a little bit more. I don't want to say formal, but I actually appreciate the early Dvorak, even though it's maybe a little less formed and it has the trademarks. and it's fun. I'm glad, of course, we have the masterpiece of the second piano quintet, because it probably is one of the greatest works in chamber music, period. But the early piano quintets were and the quartet, I highly recommend giving it a listen.
Mm-hmm. This has been great. I'm going to wrap up the conversation by asking, are there plans for Marc-Andre and the Takács Quartet to tour this the Price and the Dvorak?
Not at the moment, I think, but I'm open.
Fantastic. Marc-Andre, Richard, and Andras, this has been a real treat to talk to the three of you today. Now, Marc-Andre, you've got to convince the Takács Quartet to come to Winnipeg, maybe perhaps in June. The CD is just marvelous. A big congratulations, and thanks so much for taking the time to sit down and chat with me about this CD. It's fantastic.
Thank you.
Many thanks.
Thank you, Chris.